realized it because Phil Palucha, who's the host of Billionaires and Boxers, I was talking to him and he said, some people get paid to make introductions. And I was like, wait, what? They do? Not many people, but some do. And so once I had that, I started sharing that with people I met. I'm still meeting a lot of people. And I started connecting to people, and in the course of conversation, like, I got this idea. It was giving me some people get paid to make introductions. I'm trying to figure out how to do that. Maybe I could be a speaker concierge. I could do this, I could do that. And one person I was talking to, who's a very successful coach, runs I think an 8-figure business. He said, that would be amazing. How much do you want? I'm like, wait, what? He's like, I need to meet people. A single introduction could be worth tens of thousands of dollars because he does a lot of other people's audience marketing, joint venture, affiliate type marketing, but he needs to meet those people.
Welcome to the Entrepreneur Freedom Solutions Show. I'm Eric Asbeck, and I've got a great network. And one of the guys that's in my network is Michael Whitehouse. And he's the Networking Concierge. And today we're going to be talking about networking. So, hey, how you doing, Michael?
I love talking about networking. I love talking about anything, really, but I'm glad to be here.
Yes. And we have had some wide-ranging and interesting conversations, which is probably one of the reasons why networking, it attracts itself to you. So, so well, tell me about networking. What's it about, and why is it so important? But I want to hear what you have to say.
I love networking because it's what I love doing. I recently took one of those DISC profiles, and we were going through the things to watch out for. It's over socializing. You're high I, you're going to want to talk to lots of people, and be careful that doesn't consume your life.
What is I in DISC?
I is the interactive, likes to talk to people. You put two I's together, they'll talk for 9 hours and be like, oh, where'd the time go? So that's what I love to do. And so for me, it's not how do I avoid that, it's how do I get paid for it. So that's how I became a networking concierge for my own business. But why networking is so important for everyone else who's not high I and not compulsively loves meeting people and extroverted.
Right.
Networking is the best way, is one of the highest leverage activities. If you want to solve a problem, there's someone in the world who can solve it. And the faster you can find them, the better. You want to get a job, someone can hire you. The faster you can meet them, the better. You want to sell a product? Well, wouldn't it be easier to be introduced to someone and talk to them about it in a friendly, hey, I can solve your problem solution, than a, how do I write the right copy that's going to go in a cold email and make them go down the funnel? And
you start talking to them, and like if you are interactive, and you'll start to hear what's going on with them, and you can think, well, I have something I can do for you.
But that's the thing, is I haven't cold approached anyone in nearly 2 years at this point, because I don't have to. I don't like it, so I learned how not to do it. Even before the pandemic, when I was still publishing a magazine, I still did a lot of cold calling, but most of my business was from meeting people at events, getting introduced to people through networking. It was practically Stone Age technology compared to where I am now in my techniques and strategies, but it avoided the thing I didn't like doing. Who likes cold calling? Probably not a lot of people.
Raise your hands. Nobody's raising their hand. What's going on here?
Who likes trying to build funnels and systems and Facebook ads? And now, if you're trying to get 100 clients, you're not going to do it through one-on-one networking. But if you need 14 clients, then you could meet them all, have pleasant conversations, discover their challenges, and your solution happens to solve their problem. And they're not only open to talking to you, they're excited to talk to you. When I talk to people about my Networking Concierge program, the ones who work with me say, I'm so glad I met you. This is not what salespeople hear. Right. But because it's through a networking context, if someone's not a fit, we don't even have a conversation about what I offer, because we had an open, free-flowing enough conversation that I could find out what their needs are. Right. And I may solve them with an introduction or some advice or an idea. But for the right people, when I say, well, I offer this, they're like, oh my God, you do? That sounds amazing. I'll take two. I don't have to sell. The sales strategy is no pitch, no close. I don't present. I don't have a slide deck. I don't have a website. There's a landing page, but the landing page's job is to hold the button where they sign up, because there has to be a place where they give me their money. Right. But that's it. Because I come in through the networking angle, because we come in as people talking to each other, trying to solve their problems, it's a whole different conversation than the sales conversation. Right. There's no point when it goes to adversarial.
The convincing conversation.
Right. If I have to convince you that you want to work with me, you're not going to work with me.
Yeah. And do you really, is that really going to be a good vibe for you either?
Absolutely.
If you
Well,
jujitsued somebody into something. And
yeah. When I used to sell magazine ads, and there were contracts. So I was selling for another company. They had 12, 24, and 36-month contracts. And I do my thing and I jujitsu them into buying. And 6 months later, I'm trying to reclose them. Yeah. Except they call me out of the blue. Hey, I want out. And now I'm having the conversation the worst possible.
Well, let me see how I'm going to have a conversation with them to and re-engage them.
Yeah, now I got to
and they're already like, forget it.
And it's awful. Whereas by doing it this way, I eliminate that at the beginning. If they have any doubts, I say, all right, well, where to find me if you do want to do it. Let's talk about it. But I'm not going to follow up in that like, hey, you want to sign up now?
Right.
I may follow up and say, hey, a few months ago, you said you were interested. Just want to see where you stand, how things are going. But I'm not going to try to close them, because if you have to close them once, you have to close them again and again and again. I want people who really want to work with me.
Right.
And especially with what my business is as a networking concierge, I work intimately with my clients. I need to be out there. Like their name goes on a whiteboard in my office that I look at every day. So I'm thinking about them in every single meeting I go into. And then if they're a fit, I'm making that connection for them. And I want to make sure I am very happy about all these people. Because just on an energetic level, if you want to get metaphysical, if I'm not happy I'm working with them, how can I really make good introductions for them? If I'm like, you got to meet Bob. He's pretty cool. Yeah, we should definitely meet him. He's good. Need to be like, oh, you got to meet Bob. Bob is amazing. You're going to love him. He's actually one of my clients. I love working with him, and you're going to love him too.
Well, so that actually, because we're talking about networking and how to be, is it for you? And if it is, how to be effective at it. So people jump in, but like, what common mistakes that people make and what should they do instead?
Yep. So first off, the question is networking for you. Networking is only for you if you are human or part of another social species. So like if you're a dog, networking is also for you. So if you're part of a non-social species, then it's not for you. If you're a snail, you don't need to network. But if for any of your listeners who are human, networking is probably good, because whether they're self-employed, work for someone else, every good thing that's ever happened to you came through someone. Every dollar that ever came to you came through another human.
Oh, and the stuff that you'd really chalk up as fun. Some of it's adventure, but even that, it's like you need to get to where you're going, and there's somebody else involved. Somebody gave you the idea, somebody else is participating with you.
Even going to the mountains to live by yourself for a week is probably because your friend said, hey, I know this really cool cabin in the mountains where you can be by yourself.
Right.
So you networked to getting alone. So networking is definitely for everyone. And then I forgot the question you actually asked.
So, well, what are the common mistakes people make when, like they said, okay, networking is for me. Now, great, I'm ready to jump in.
Yep. So the most common mistake people make is doing it the wrong way, approaching it the wrong way. So most people go in thinking about what they want. You're trying to sell your product, you're trying to find clients. So you talk to someone, you're like, hi, I'm an insurance agent, I sell insurance, and anyone looking for insurance, send them to me. All right.
Insurance.
Blah,
got a big sign on your head.
Yes. And the way to do it, the much more effective way to do it, is to go in to help someone. I consider networking events successful if I can make referrals. I don't care if I get referrals. Do I want referrals? But at this point, it's about quantity over quality, or quality over quantity for me, because I got plenty of quantity. So I care about, can I make referrals? Because every referral I make strengthens my relationships and strengthens my brand and my presence. But even if you don't have a big network, you should still go into every networking conversation thinking, I'm going to help this person with a problem. This is a challenge a lot of people have. Like, what am I going to say? What's my pitch going to be? How am I going to approach them? How do I make an impression? You're going to make a huge impression if you walk into that conversation to help them. So you go into that conversation saying, this person has a problem. Everyone's got a problem. And you want to find out what the problem is and then try to help them. And you're going to help them in one of three ways. With an introduction.
Before you do that. So I walk up to somebody.
Yep.
We start a conversation, and I'm thinking so I've got your tick list in my mind, and I'm thinking, okay, so everybody's got a problem. How do I go? Say, I don't want to just say, hey, Michael, great to meet you. Listen, I know you got a problem. I want you to tell me about it.
What's
so
your
I can
problem,
see if I
buddy?
can solve it. So
Yeah,
how can you, a more delicate way to work your way around to that?
So the first thing I do is I always have them go first, because it's always, tell me about yourself. Well, why don't you tell me about yourself? Tell me about your business first. Most people who say, tell me about you, unless they are adept practice networkers, they're only doing it so that they get you out of the way so they can talk about them. So they want to talk anyway. So be like, no, why don't you tell me about what you do first? Let's talk about what you do first. Because that's going to open up some angles of conversation. One of them might be, you can say, oh, so who are your ideal clients? How do you meet those clients? What are some of the challenges you're having in your business? Some people will just like start rambling on about what their challenges are anyway.
You can even say, what problems are you solving for them?
Yep.
How do you do that?
Yep.
Got it. I'm tracking in with you now.
But one of the best ones is, and I'm going to talk a little bit later about the level 3 networking, but if you ask them, how do you meet your clients? Then they might say, oh, most of our referrals come from accountants. So now they're revealing, I want to meet accountants because accountants are their lead source. Their problem is they don't know enough accountants, because they can never know enough accountants. They always want to know more if that's who their lead source is. Right. So it might not be a problem. It might just be an area for growth. That is more, it is good, it could be better, as opposed to as bad, it could be better.
An area of opportunity.
Yeah. Yes, you want to find that area of opportunity. So sometimes it's simple like that. One of the challenges is, and this is where a lot of people think either networking doesn't work, or they're bad at networking, or networking is a waste of time. You might run into people, especially at local networking, wine and cheese networking events, who are there for the wine and cheese more than for the networking.
Right.
And so you'll ask people, who is your ideal referral? Who are you looking to meet? I like to say I'm the networking genie, because you give me a networking wish and I probably know the person you need to meet. And these people don't know what to do with a networking genie. I'm like, I'll introduce you to anyone you want to know. Who do you want to know? And they're like, oh, I'm just looking to meet whoever. Okay, next. But you need to realize that you're not a bad networker because you can't help them. They're a bad networker because they came to an event with no agenda and no intention of gaining anything.
Well, they just they didn't spend the time in advance to get clear about that. They may have an agenda, but it's like, you're not going to solve that in a few moments in a conversation.
Right.
They have to put a little time in.
They need a lot of clarity in their business. There's a whole lot going on there. So
unless your business is helping them get clarity in their business, in which you could say, what?
What their problem is, they got a lack of clarity. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So, but it's a matter of seeking what that challenge is. And so which could be as simple as, here's their ideal referral source. They need that introduction. It could be some more pressing challenge. And sometimes in conversation, I'll bring up that this is what I do. I help people solve their problems through introductions. And I had someone once ask me, hey, well, what do you mean? What problems can you solve? I said, try me. What problem do you have right now? And she says, okay. And this is someone who ran a local housing authority. She says, we got a bunch of concrete balconies that need to be fixed, and we need someone who can do the concrete and the woodwork. And I said, okay, cool. What's your email address? I'll send you some introductions. She's like, what? I'm like, I'll send you introductions. And I emailed her some introductions. She's like, wow, thanks. Because who does that? So you really do want to be blunt about it. And you're like, I have no idea how to segue into this. You could just say, so I listened to this podcast and this guy said I should go to events and try to solve people's problems. So I wonder if you could help me with that. Do you have a challenge?
So I'm trying it out. So
try it out. Want
to play?
So how could I help you? What would be most beneficial? If you could have anything right now, what would it be? And yeah, you'll still run into some people like, I don't know. But most, once you create that space, or most who are worth working with.
Well, if there's something there, then and you're at all comfortable with you, then they're gonna say, okay, great. So here, try this. Let's see what you're gonna do with this one.
Yeah. So then there's going to be one of three ways primarily you're going to offer the solution. First is introduction. And if anyone, you can make an introduction. Unless you just moved here from Mars, some people, you got family members, maybe coworkers, clients, vendors, other people you've met at that very networking event. The number of times I've made introductions in the room that were the exact person they're looking to meet with, they just hadn't happened to bump into them. You can make introductions. And the introduction could be as simple as the closest person to what you're looking for. Yeah, well, I don't know anyone who does concrete, but I do know a landscaper and he probably knows a whole bunch of people. So let me connect you to him. It doesn't matter. You don't need to change their life. You need to help, which still makes you the most helpful person they talk to tonight. The second thing could be advice, which could be, I know a great podcast. I know a great website. There's a technical tool. There's, have you heard about this thing? And do something like that.
Check out this book or
yep.
whatever it is.
Yep. And the third thing, and this is the most rare, but the most awesome, is a product or service which you happen to provide. So if I meet someone and it happens to come up that they say, I don't know, the challenge is they really need to connect with more people, but they just don't have the time for it. Like networking, if they can meet the right people, it can be really lucrative, but they just don't know, they don't have the time and energy to put into that. And I'd say, oh, well, we should really talk because funny you should mention that. Would you like some help with that? That's what I do.
Well, so what is it that you do?
So what do I do? What a great segue. So I am a networking concierge.
Yes.
And
that part we knew up front, but what the
heck does that mean? So as I mentioned, I meet people compulsively. For the longest time, I thought it's really fun meeting all these people, but at some point I'll have to grow up and do serious business things and not spend all my time just meeting people, making introductions for them. Because that's fun, but that's not a business. And then I realized that could be a business. So
how did you realize that?
I realized it because Phil Palucha, who's the host of Billionaires and Boxers, I was talking to him and he said, some people get paid to make introductions. And I was like, wait, what? They do? Not many people, but some do. And so once I had that, I started sharing that with people I met because I'm still meeting a lot of people. And I started connecting to people, and in the course of conversation, be like, I got this idea was giving me some people get paid to make introductions. I'm trying to figure out how to do that. And maybe I could be a speaker concierge. I could do this, I could do that. And one person I was talking to, who's a very successful coach, runs I think an 8-figure business. He said, that would be amazing. How much do you want? I'm like, wait, what? He's like, I need to meet people. A single introduction could be worth tens of thousands of dollars because he does a lot of other people's audience marketing, joint venture, affiliate type marketing, but he needs to meet those people and have that conversation.
Just give me a chance to talk with them.
Yeah. But the thing is, normally in order to do that, you got to kiss a lot of frogs to find the prince. You've got to talk to 10, 20 people to find the one who's a good partner. And maybe 10 of them, there's some potential, but you're not sure what it is. And he doesn't have time to explore with all these different people. He needs someone who will go out and meet with all 20 of them, send him the one and say, this is the guy, talk to him, partner with him. You're just going to do a straight up exchange. And it's great.
It makes me think, I'm sorry to interject, but it makes me think, like in sales, you can think of it some people are hunters and some people are farmers. The hunters go out and meet new people and find opportunities and develop the engagement and come up with that first offer. And the farmers are the ones that are saying, hey, it's like, let's keep this relationship going. How can I serve you better? And all that stuff. So it's like that hunter farmer, like basically they can say, hey, guy, want to be a hunter for me? I made that up, but like
it's almost more of a scout.
There you go.
Because I'm not so much hunting as saying, okay,
you're not bringing the deal back, but you're saying, hey, I was out over here and I saw this, and let's go. You should check that out.
Because that's the thing. I'll spend 25 hours a week or more networking to find these people, and my clients don't want to spend 25 hours a month networking. They want to meet the five best people I met, and some of them are set up to have lots of meetings. Others are like, I don't want more than 5 introductions a month. Give me 5 good ones and no more, because I don't have time for more. Right. And I want them in these criteria. The other thing I do for them is I get a better idea of their business beyond just I want these people. That I might meet someone, like, for example, anyone who runs an 8-figure business has multiple facets in their business.
Yes.
So they probably have maybe real estate interests or investment interests or whatever, nonprofit interests. So I can be out there and I can meet someone and say, okay, this isn't someone that they need for their core thing they hired me for, but I think they'd like to meet them. So I can go back and say, hey, Bob, I've got this person. I think you'd really like to meet them, and I think you'll have a lot to talk about. And they're gonna have a conversation. They'll get on a 30-minute call. If I'm wrong, 30 minutes. If I'm right, oh my God, thank you so much. This was amazing. And for the people I work with, and this is one of the big epiphanies I had, the amount that I get paid is a lot to me and not a lot to them.
Oh.
So you work with people who run high 6, 7, 8-figure businesses. So to pay me a couple $1,000s a month isn't a major, it's not its own line item. It fits into another budget somewhere. It's part of their marketing budget, it's part of their staff budget, whatever. And so for me, it didn't take a lot of people to get to a 6-figure business. But for all of them, it's not to, and this is why I'm picky about who I work with, that I don't want anyone who's ever going to say, I'm spending a lot of money on this, Michael. I want someone who's like, oh, I love what you're doing for me. And I've made a couple deals every month, and each deal could be worth $10, $50, $100,000.
Right.
So to pay me in a year what one deal makes you once is a pretty good deal, but it makes a great relationship because for them, they get this problem solved of how do I meet people? And one thing I always point out is like when you sell, you don't sell marketing, you sell money. You sell money, time, happiness, one of those principles. A lot of people think I sell money. They say, okay, we're going to find deals that are going to make money. I don't sell money. I sell time.
I was feeling that.
My clients know how to make money, but they're so dialed in that they run the risk of not meeting new people, not making new connections, not seeing the next big thing, that an opportunity may pass them by because they're not there. So they have this fear of missing out. So they see an event.
Or dispersed in terms of trying to go out and find, like doing all that meeting when there's stuff that's generating income and like they have their machine running.
If you're a coach who your one-on-one program is $2,000 an hour, should you go to a 3-hour networking event?
Yeah.
What is the chance you're going to make $6,000 of value with your time versus hire the guy who knows a guy? And then you could, but just fear of missing out, because maybe you will meet your next $1 million partner at that networking event. So should I go? I don't know. And it takes, the more you do something, the better you get at it. I've gotten much better deciding which events I should go to, which events I shouldn't go to, what are going to be the high level events or the low level events. If you go to an event once every 6 weeks, chances are you're not going to pick the right ones because you don't know. That's not your zone of genius. So you hire someone else, that's me, who's already going to the events, already meeting the people.
And you can look at your board and think, oh, for that set of folks, this event, yes, this event, maybe not so.
Yeah.
You can also leverage your knowledge of what events are and those things.
Yeah. And a lot of the people.
So how does somebody else do that if they want to try to figure out how to do that? Does somebody else make a sensible decision on, because we already said, if you're human, networking
so
is for you, and you've got these 3 different things, which I forget, what were those, the 3 again? Introductions.
Introductions, advice, and your solution.
Yes. So you're thinking all that stuff, but then it's like, well, I've got like this event or that event, and everyone you go to, like there's some logistics, like it's like there's things going on. How do you choose?
I don't know any better way than trial and error, because from the outside, most events look the same. And then when you go to one, you'll get a sense of if it was a good event or not. But the thing you really want to look for when you're in the event, because from the outside, it's very hard to tell. I would say any event that says networking is boring, so we made it more interesting with blank, if it changes the actual structure of the networking. Putting a caveat on that because I just realized that my own entrepreneur summit, I say that. But they're saying like networking is boring, so there's going to be some musical performances. That is not in line with networking. That's basically, we don't like networking, so we're running an event, we're calling a networking event and doing other stuff. Now, but you may go to it because you're like, I love music.
We have breakout tables and we're going to rotate people around every 15 minutes. Like, well, maybe, I don't know, or I'm just making it up.
And also from that perspective, you may say, I don't like networking either, but I do like music. So now you're really going to a music event with a side of networking. But listen to the tone of what event it's going to be. Because also they talk about all the things you're going to learn. Well, you don't learn things in networking events, you meet people. So learning happens when someone's standing on a stage talking. What doesn't happen when someone's standing on stage talking? Networking. So read between the lines, but to some degree, it's just the language is always changing. So it's just trial and error. Go to an event, pay attention to how they pitched it. And then next time you see that set of words, it might be a similar event. Also, don't be afraid to
another
leave.
thing I'm thinking about is as you start to go to events and you meet people and you hear about another event and you think, let me ask this other person in my network.
Yep. Well, and that's great. We get recommendations from people. Don't be afraid to leave an event if you're not getting anything out of it. But also go into the event. One thing you're looking for is people who are looking to connect at a higher level. And actually, this seems like a good segue to talk about my 5 networking levels.
Let's do that.
So I came up with this concept. So if you're watching this on video, you see behind me Ninja Networking. And if not, listen closely. I'm going to tell you what it stands for. Ninja is an acronym because when you have the chance to make Ninja an acronym, you should. So level 1 is networking prospecting. So that is looking for a customer in the room. Level 2 is introductions. That is looking for an introduction to a customer in the room. So networking prospecting uncharitably is called "Are you my mommy?" networking, as in, are you my customer? Are you my customer? Are you my customer? It can be done well. In fact, when I sold the magazine ads, that's basically what I do. But that's what I was talking about. Look for their need. If they have the need that is you, then you can bring it out. It is not pitching everyone you meet. Don't do that. That's terrible. But that's the first level. Second level is introduction. So if anyone looking to buy or sell a home, send them to me because I'm the best realtor in town. The third level is my favorite level, non-competitive partners. This is trying to find your partners in the room. So my ideal partners are people who run events and are looking for speakers. So if anyone running events looking for speakers, I'd love to talk to them because I know a lot of speakers.
Like the landscaper that knew somebody that was it concrete, whatever it was that you were.
Yeah. This is a really easy introduction to make. So I call level 3 networking because third level is a really easy introduction to make. Because if you say I'm looking to meet event organizers because I know speakers, I'm happy to introduce you. Even though I've known you for 30 seconds, I'll make that introduction. Because worst case scenario, you used to have a 30-minute call and you say, that wasn't really a fit. Best case scenario, you're the new best friend and you're getting them speakers and they're getting you opportunities for your clients and everybody's winning and they love me. Whereas a level 2 introduction, I'm looking for my client, worst case scenario, I get a call saying, why'd you introduce me to that sleazy salesman who just pitched me for 30 minutes? And so that's why I say you want to get to that third level because then people can respond. The fourth and fifth, by the way, fourth is joint ventures. That's where you're doing more. You're looking for partners you can actually work with, and fifth level is that at scale. So we have a launch, we need 90 affiliates. I gloss over those because those are both more technical and involved, and only certain companies are structured for those things. But anyone can go straight to level 3.
Level 1 networking, level 2 introductions, level 3 non-competitive partners, 4 joint ventures, and 5 affiliates.
Yes.
Got it.
Yep. And that's your ninja networking. So anyone can go straight to level 3. Anyone can go into a networking event and say, who do I need to meet? Who could be a referral partner or we could provide value to each other.
So who can I meet that might know people that I want to have those level 2 conversations with?
Yes.
Where I'm saying, hey, we're a fit.
Yep. In BNI, Business Network International, they have a concept of the referral confidence curve, that no one's going to give you a referral until they trust you and know you well enough to pass those. BNI is the original level 2 networking organization because when they started, it was all level 1. People were going to networking events, shoving business cards in each other's hands, trying to sell each other. It was awful. Right. So level 2 was a huge innovation off level 1, but it takes a lot of work to build that trust so someone will connect with you. And if you do IT security and you're talking to a landscaper, they might stumble across someone who might pass referrals, but that's not your ideal referral partner. But
they may be landscaping for a bunch of people that have big private homes or small businesses, and you're like, hey, wonder if they need security services.
Yep. And that's the principle with BNI is you get to know this group really well. They get to know you on a long-term basis. But this is also why they say it can take a year or more for BNI membership to start to pay off because you got to build these. I'm talking about what do you do when you're walking to an event full of strangers and you want to benefit today? Because you're not going to build a relationship with this group of strangers you're probably never going to see them again unless you go to this event regularly or you do some one-to-ones with them. So if you go in looking for non-competitive partners and those introductions, then you could get that introduction right there on the spot. If I come to you and I say, I'm looking to meet geeky entrepreneurs who want to speak at a summit, and you'd be like, oh, I love sharing stages. So I totally know some people, let me send it. Or I'm looking to talk to connectors. I'm looking to talk to, basically, if I'm looking to talk to anyone I don't want to sell something to, then most people are pretty open to making that introduction pretty easily because it's providing value and it's effectively almost done for you networking. It's like, I want to network and make connections. I don't know how. Oh, sweet. You gave me the recipe of how to help you. So if you stay in that space, then that's going to make you more effective. And the thing to look for is events where other people are doing that. So if you go to the event and people are trying to sell you in the room before they find out what you want, this might not be a great networking event.
Right.
If you go in and they're saying, I'm a financial advisor, and with anyone like that, financial advisor, insurance agent, realtor, those generic things, my first question is, what makes you different from every other person in your industry? 9 out of 10 can't answer it or answer it the same way everyone else answers it. And it's a very short conversation because I can't provide them value. They can't provide value. We'd both be better off getting back in line for another glass of wine. So we move on. But 1 out of 10 says something like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, you're not like every other financial advisor. Okay, now we have something to talk about.
Right.
But if you go into a room, you go into an event, and everyone there is talking in terms of partnerships, talking in terms of here's the people we work with, here's the people we can provide benefit to, here's the people I want to speak, I want to give a talk to these kinds of associations. That's more of a non-competitive partner thing than a pitch thing. They're pitching themselves to speak, but they're
saying, hey, I'm looking for this. Whatever this is, like this people, this event opportunity, whatever it might be. And you're like,
they're coming into,
well, I happen to know, let me connect you with that person. Yeah. Or the other way around, where you're saying, value. I'm looking for that. And they're like, oh, hey, you should talk to Joe.
They say, I'm looking to speak to the associations because I can teach them about how to manage stress. This is going to start with a value. I'm going to speak probably for free to talk about stress. I'm then going to hope some buy my book, my product, sign up for my email list, whatever, but they're going to give first. So the introduction will be well received. And so the thing you want to be looking for is people who are not trying to sell you and not trying to sell your friends, but are trying to provide value to you and your friends. And if you find those events, look for more events like those.
Yes. I'm realizing that. So here's what happens when two eyes get together. We keep talking. And it's really interesting. At least for me, I hope our listeners are interested. I am really interested. So, but let's look to bring this towards a close.
Yes.
So, if you go back and give your 18-year-old self one piece of advice, what would it be?
So that is a great question, and actually segues to something that I haven't talked about, but I'm glad I was able to bring it up. So if you look over my other shoulder, if you're watching this on video, I have a podcast called the Neurodiversity Superpowers Podcast. And in some ways, it is a show designed to speak to an 18-year-old version of myself. So I've always had ADHD. I know, hard to tell. I hide it very well. Nobody can tell I have ADHD. Surprise. But partly because of that, I was unfocused. And then, of course, I was also young and stupid and impulsive. And I didn't
not like the rest of us.
Right. Now I'm old and stupid and impulsive.
Really?
But I didn't focus on a general goal. Now at least I have a specific, like a financial target and some general things. And I often try to go back and compare, okay, am I still heading towards that target? Am I still heading, if I'm trying to go northeast, am I still going north or east or northeast? When I was young, I'd be traveling south and be like, but I'm making good time. Yeah. So the advice I'd give to my 18-year-old self is have a North Star goal, not necessarily a specific goal. You don't have to be totally dialed in, but really
not even something you're necessarily going to ever finally get to in some ultimate sense, but like a directional thing. Like I want to go this way.
but also have it clear enough that you can then audit. Because I remember when I was at Young, I came up with, I have my goal. I want to acquire power and or wealth that would allow me to make positive change in the world. Very broad goal, but I couldn't audit if I was heading towards it. So I needed to have some specific goal and then be able to audit that. So like when I ran my first business, I wasn't focused on making money. So it fell apart. You've got to make money to run a business. I don't care what else you do. If it doesn't make money, nothing else matters. And I wasn't auditing and getting refocused to that. Audit, get refocused. I got distracted by other missions. So that'd be my thing is pick that, figure out the specific thing you're going to do, whether it's a monetary target or I want to live in California, or pick something and everything, compare it back to that goal and make sure you're moving that direction. And don't wait to make the changes. Don't say, well, next year I'll do an audit and figure it out. Audit now. Correct now.
Actually, so I just have to say, I teach entrepreneurs and consultants how to find money freedom through my Entrepreneur Money Freedom course. But one of the things that we do is provide them something called the Lifetime Cash Flow Framework, which is designed to help them make strategic choices about which things are going to get them where they want to go more effectively. And then as time goes on, they can use that same framework to see if they're on or off track and if they need to make adjustments or not. But it requires something tangible that something measurable that you can look at and say in or out, good or bad, like on track, off track. Without that, then you're just wandering around without a compass and a map. Now, I didn't mean to go into my stuff, but it's like I'm so in line with you about what you just said.
And now I just realized there's two of my clients you need to meet. So I'm glad you went into your stuff.
Well, there you go. I'm talking to the right guy. Well, so let me just ask, let's wrap it up. And I'll just say, is there a question you wish I'd asked? And if so, how would you have answered it?
Let's see. I feel like we've been all over the waterfront, and we did go into. So I'm glad we were able to go deep on what my networking concierge is, because I don't often go into the actual program. It's like my secret way I make money. I do all this other stuff, but no, I feel like we covered a lot of things really well, and I'm glad we're able to share all that.
Oh, it's been awesome, and I hope everybody's been taking notes. I know I have the recording, so I'm going to be going back and doing that myself. Well, people are going to want to. There are people who are going to reach you. So how can people get a hold of you?
Well, conveniently, I have a website for that, which is guywhoknowsaguy.com.
Not a guy, just a guy.
It is not a guy, and it is not the guy. It is just www.guywhoknowsaguy.com. And so on there, you can find a very jumbled ADHD pile of stuff. No, it's just a beautiful website. I made it myself. But you'll find various things I do. At the very top, though, is a place where you can get my book, The Guy Who Knows a Guy. Just put your email address in there. It'll be emailed to you automatically. You can totally sign up, get the book, and unsubscribe if you want to, but then you'll miss out on all the rest of it.
So what's the value of that book then?
That book basically tells my story of how I went from a guy walking into a chamber event in 2014 knowing absolutely nobody to being a professional level networker, and a lot of what I learned and the techniques. I'm not any great networking genius. I just did a bunch of things over and over again, and then I wrote down how to do it. So it basically gives you everything you need. I try to make it fun because most networking books are boring. So it's fun. There's some laugh out loud stories. It's good times. If somebody wants the audiobook, they can actually reply to that email and be like, hey, send me the audiobook. And then I send them the audiobook for free. So they'll get that there. And also through that website, they can hop onto one of my open virtual coffees, because unfortunately, unfortunately, I am busy enough. It's really hard to do a lot of one-to-ones with people, but I do an open virtual coffee every week that anyone can just drop into and be like, hey, Michael, sometimes we have 10 people. Sometimes we have one person. You never know. You might get an hour alone with me.
And I happen to have been a guest on one of those. They're pretty fun.
Yep. Well, no, that's the open lunch.
That was a different
Power
thing.
Lunch live show.
Sorry.
So there's also the Power Lunch live show, which if you are interesting, I want you on the show. That's the standard. I want interesting people. It's a lot of fun. You can find that. You can find a link to that through guywhoknowsaguy.com. I bring 4 interesting and diverse people onto the show, and they have interesting conversations, and we see where it goes. It's a very high eye ADHD show. And if you like that thing, it's a great thing. Eat lunch while you're watching and enjoy some rambling conversation with fun people.
So you got the power lunches and you have the virtual coffees.
Yes. Yep.
Awesome.
I've done a number of things that are based on creating systems to make my life function. So a lot of things people are like, that's so brilliant. I'm like, well, I had a catastrophe. I needed to fix it. I was at one point booking out 8 weeks. Like it's August as we record this. If I had not fixed this, I'd send them my one-to-one link and they'd say, you don't have anything till November. I'd say, that is accurate. Yeah. So November. And I said, this is a problem because I had prospective clients and people who want to talk to me about my clients and like business to do. I couldn't get them on the calendar.
Right.
So I came up with the Open Virtual Coffee and the Networking Bonanza, or the Connection Bonanza, and the Power Lunch Live Show, and these different things to put people together so I could more economically make more connections, serve more people, provide more value, because there's only one of me. There's only 168 hours in the week, and I only function for about 40 of them. So I needed to make the most of that time. And in spite of the fact that my C on the disc profile is 7 out of 100, I find myself building all kinds of systems because I have to.
Yeah, I understand. So just to wrap it up, guywhoknowsaguy.com for all kinds of good stuff. So go there, check it out.
Definitely do that.
Michael, thank you so much. It's like it's just been chock full of useful stuff and a lot of fun. So
I had fun too.
Yeah, awesome. So until next time, thank you so much. Take care.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.